What is going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your creative unconscious reading for Saturday, May 21st. If you are in the United States or Canada, happy Memorial Day or Victoria Day, whichever, where that falls. So we are, I feel like there's the theme that started coming up, and I apologize in advance. It sounds like my neighbor is starting a band with leaf blowers, so I'm not really sure what what the lawn care deal is there. But if it comes into the reading, I do apologize. It shouldn't, but if it happens to, so be it. But some of the themes that I was thinking about for this reading that came to mind were this, like, making peace with our imperfect parts, right? Making peace with our imperfect parts, and I think a willingness to. A willingness to go a bit easier on ourselves, right? For the times where we like wobble in our faith in ourselves or wobble in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And I think it's also what also started to come to mind for this was releasing other people's expectations of us too. And not in a way that's like, blah, blah, like cutting it off and like removing it. But I think it's about releasing expectations where something from the past was like, would have, or like was, it's like shaping the way that you see things now. And I'm not talking about, I mean, that sounds so generic, but it's a long view of how beliefs that we don't tend to today and things that we don't tend to today can impact what it is that we do down the line and how we feel about ourselves, how we act, how we react. And also who we open ourselves up to, and how that energy comes to be, right? I know this week I went to a conservation area around here, and I just sat on a rock watching the birds and just watching the water and feeling myself in this space, and doing a small meditation there just to reconnect to that sense of higher self, that eternal self. That was relatively unburdened by the energies and any issues that were being faced that particular day. So, in that, I was just reminded of this sense of timelessness and reconnecting to that, even when things seem, all over the place, backwards, upside down, and sideways. So, we're going to dive in here and see where this goes. But that was sort of the energy at the outside of this reading. That was the energy at the outside of this reading. So, whoa, and that card went flying. So that's the Four of Wands. So I feel like this is like that sense of stability that has either been searched for or sought out. Searched for, sought out, cultivated as well is what's coming to mind. That's what I'm hearing. And the Tower, interesting. Now, what I love about this Tower, that should be on a t-shirt, I'm sure. But the Tower here is, it's like this sense of things falling apart a little bit, I think. It's like things falling apart, but like what happens after the fact, right? And it's like collecting everything back together and putting the pieces back together. So this is almost like, the ways that our beliefs every day sometimes fall apart, or it's like the coming back together. Like this is putting the pieces back together. So it's like I think that is like the piece of stability. And I think it's also crucial too, to let yourself emote right now, to let yourself just be emotional, even if it doesn't make sense, just be in it, right? Just be in it. Because I feel like the moon, it almost looks like in some ways the moon on either side is crying a little bit. And it's like just letting yourself have that and letting this like depth of emotion come. And this is also like an assessment of the things that a particular tower taught us, taught folks. But it's yeah. It's like the assessment after the fact. And then this is the Four of Swords. Whoops. So this is, I think, a period of rest after that sort of internal tower. It's like a period of rest after the Tower. But then the thing to keep in mind too is these, oh goodness, I think it's the Flamberge. Flamberg. Oh my gosh. GE. I'm not French, so I don't know why that came out that way, but French immersion school up until a certain grade. But the curl in these is, it's like it's almost, it reminds me of Archangel Michael's flaming sword. Like there's like a flame aspect to it, but these are also swords that in a specific literary cycle in history related to France or England, it was the literary cycle was one of performing stories in sort of a theatrical way in the square, and they would use swords like this because it wouldn't like they weren't intended to harm or anything like that. So it's almost like this performative, like you're resting. It's like a break from something performative. Like maybe you felt like you had to be on all the time, or there was like a perfection that you were reaching for. Maybe like a perfection that you were reaching for. I think this is also like an assessment of things, a reassessment. A reassessment. And then we have the Page of Swords. This little thing is so cute. But I think it's like you're ready for anything now. I think there's something that shifted in your, like in the way that something happened this week or in your consciousness or in your awareness, and it's like you're ready for anything now, right? You might feel like a bit unsteady on your feet because you're not so sure. Like this is like, as much as this is like a ready for anything, this is also like, I'm hearing Tiny Toons. Oh my gosh, that's been a while. But this like idea of feeling like a maybe imposter syndrome, something along those lines with what's coming forward for you. Or at least like in the light of the things that we learn after tower situations happen, it's like it can throw us into this place of a lack of awareness, right? It can throw us into a place of a lack of awareness. Oh, I didn't mean for those to come out, but that's fine. I was about to stop shuffling because I realized we have 4 cards here, but then 2 more came out. So I have the Hierophant and the Knight of Swords. I'm hearing, this is kind of ableist, but it's like blind faith and blind ambition. I dislike the sort of blind idea of that because it takes, it's sort of like trusting in anything without considering it, without like, this is like, maybe this is the lessons of the tower, right? Like what it means to charge ahead and, you know, to do so from an ambitious place that is driven, but that does not necessarily consider what we're putting our faith in. And how that is perhaps affecting us. And if if we have these shadow parts come out along the way, then for what is our faith, right? Then for what? Okay, so I think that you've maybe been ignoring a little bit of your desire for stability and what that means. Like we can all say that, oh, I want this, I want that, I want stability, I want to work this many hours, I want, you know, all these different things, but it's like ignoring it a little bit, and it's like suppressing, that's interesting. It's like suppressing how, like the details of how you'd like to get there. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please and thank you? 4 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles. I think you've been maybe ignoring that you're whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah, like you're telling stories to yourself that are just not true. They're just not true about your worth and what you deserve, whether you can do it. And I think that you need to know that you can. It's Spirit's showing you that you can. Three of Cups. Maybe people are showing you this too. Ooh. I feel like you're releasing the beliefs. You're releasing the beliefs, though. And I'm seeing something about October, the pumpkin here. Something about October might be important. And this could be related to career because Capricorn is the 10th house, which rules the career. But yeah, like I think I think that a little bit of what's coming to the fore here is releasing of all of the like just baggage, but old stories, like stories that don't serve you. You know, like sometimes we walk around every day with these 10 swords sticking out of our back and thinking that no one's going to notice, right? Thinking that no one's going to notice. When I was in, this is before grad school, but there were different ways that I would have these things sticking out of me while trying to do community work and things like that, and being like, no, I need to like really start to unpack these and take them out, right? Take them out. And just like to let the light emerge. So, Spirit, what can you tell me about this tower? And maybe it's like not wanting to see that, not wanting to see what the lessons are of this particular tower, right? There's a particular tower. I'm getting that there's a particular tower, and it's this Three of Swords. It's connected to this. It's connected to this Three of Swords. That's like, it's almost like I'm hearing stopgap. That's not overly connected, but it's like connected to this, and it's, you feel like it's protecting you, but it's really not. It's really not. Yeah, because these two were on the split, because you can't see, and then the world underneath you can see right there. But it's like you think it's protecting you, but it's just keeping you in indecision, and you can't see when offers come in. So it's like, I think it's also about having compassion for yourself too. Straight up, when I see stuff like that in the decks, it's like it's protecting you because that's how you had to get by. Like that's the easiest way you could get by, and you know, there are ways that that was the most beautiful expression of compassion your little self could have for you in those moments. Yeah, is to protect you through things like worry or you know, dissociation, or however it expressed itself. Dissociation. Queen of Cups as well. But this is like, I think that what's happening post Tower is you're moving away from this disconnect from your emotions. This was on the bottom. You're moving away from this emotional disconnection because you're recognizing that it's not working for you. And it's not like we don't have to assess the Tower and do like this whole 360 on it and be like, well, that's what this means. And on, you know, in the appendices, you'll find this particular information, and in this particular chapter of this portfolio of all of the things that went wrong. No, it's not like that at all. This is really just about assessing, you know, what are even just saying, what are the three things that we've learned? What are the three things that we're picking up from this? What are the three things that we can take from this that will help heal us and others, right? It's not about showing your whole 9 of Swords off to the world. It's just, you know, 3 lessons. Like it could be as simple as 3 lessons. And it's not, you know, like I express myself often out loud and all of that, but it's just like, and sometimes that does feel vulnerable making, right? That can feel vulnerable making because you know that like not everyone's going to agree that certain things should be shared, or and you know, when realistically it's just like it doesn't it's just noise, right? It's more about like what feels right to you and what resonates for you. What resonates for you, because in that resonance, you're not just gonna, it's not about just finding like the perfect way to do something or to move forward, or the perfect conclusion that we're drawing from something that happened. It's about understanding the perfect, how do I word this? It's not even perfect, because I feel like that by nature of including something like that, it indicates or like hints at a binary that exists somewhere within that, which places you into, like throws you right into a very limited way of seeing a situation. But it's like, where's the both and, right? And also, how are you letting yourself, you know, as you move through this, like both be healed and heal others, both heal and whatever else it is, you know what I mean? Like, where's the both and? There's nuance in this, right? And I know that even starting up this channel, I had to take a step back and say like, ooh, like how do I know that I'm qualified? How do I know that, I should be doing this? And it's like, well, there's no should. I don't know, there's no like billboard in the sky that's going to fall down and tell you, this is, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's the wrong one. It's just choices that we make, right? It's decisions that we make. It's conclusions that we come to. It's ways that we align with and resonate with what's available to us. And it's like, it's understanding that that's really it. That's it. There's no decision. And by the way, I feel like that might have been a Lisa Nichols quote from a movie that I cannot remember, but just to put it out there, that just came to mind right now. So because it came to mind in like following that in terms of the billboard in the sky, I just want to make sure I cite my sources. So that, like, to me, it aligns so well. Like, it aligns so well with like just the theme, and also just the themes of the transits and what's happening astrologically speaking and all of that stuff. And it's almost like this fear, like I'm picking up this like baseline, like I keep hearing baseline. Four of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. Mark your progress, not your perfection. That was a quote that a teacher gave me in high school. She was really brilliant. We had much difference of opinion in terms of my queerness. But then again, keep in mind, this was like 2000 and something. So it was early 2000s. And so it wasn't all, like, it was just a different time. But she really took me under her wing and cared. Like, it's just the power of people caring, the power of people giving a damn. And I think that really is like, it's like tapping into that with this Three of Cups here, but it's also just tapping into the power of giving a damn about yourself, and just in a million slow and steady ways. Mark your progress, not your perfection. It's not, you're not going to win at life by showing up at death with the best report card. You're just not. That's not how it works here. Like I've said it in other videos this week, but it's like I've been to that doorstep of death 2 times. Like in the first instance, in one of them, I could feel myself dying. Like I'm sorry if that triggered people and I did not warn you. If it does, I'm going to talk about it for, I'm going to give myself about 10 to 15 seconds. So just, if it does, fast forward it, please. I don't want it to activate or trigger you. So I'm starting that now. So I felt like I was falling asleep. Like it wasn't, I wasn't conscious of what was happening. And, the person that was at the heart of why I was almost going unconscious, and who was, I guess, trying to murder me, was they exploded off of me. I started to, like, everything started to fade out, and I didn't have much available in terms of resources or energy. I could not have done that, and that person literally flew off me and hit the ground. So it's just like that to me highlighted the way that, and if you're here because you fast forwarded, congratulations, you made it. I'm done talking about that part. So this is just the kind of after effect, but it's like you start to understand that when you get that close to not being here anymore, it's not about what actually matters and what doesn't or does matter. The facts matter less than who we're deciding to be afterwards. Like the facts of it. And also, it's like, I keep thinking about mark your progress, not your perfection with this, because it's like, it's not about whether you get to that point. Like I'm still here. So I'm grateful for that, because it could have, endless possibilities, but it's just like, it changes the way you see things, because in that moment, I wasn't thinking about how perfect I had gotten it up to that point. When life, came crashing back after it happened, yes. But in that moment, I wasn't thinking about how perfect it would all be. Like, I wasn't thinking about how exact I was, cutting out the pictures and putting them on a vision board in my mind. It was just in that moment, it was quiet and it was peaceful. And it felt different. And it's like, if that's what death feels like, which I'm inclined to believe, not just because of that, but because it happened again. But if that, like, I'm inclined to believe that our job here is not to be caught up in this rushing river of life. Like it's not meant to beat us around, right? People canoeing. So there's this awesome YouTube channel that I watch because I'm totally, oh my gosh, I'm gonna geek out a little bit, but I love it so much. It's called Lost Lakes, and he films his trips into Canada, well, into Ontario's backwoods and backcountry routes. His Temagami one, Temagmi, is brilliant. It's so good. I was like eating popcorn watching it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But it's like sometimes you don't know the whole path, right? Like he has an idea, but when he's canoeing, it's like he can portage and he assesses the getting there, right? You don't want the water to beat you up and knock you out of the canoe, because that then you're kind of stuck, right? Like he has the ways to get out of that. But what I'm saying is that the journey can really beat you up, but nothing will beat you up as more as your perspective about it. Nothing will ever hurt you as much as the way you think about yourself in the light of your experiences. So it's about understanding that and asking ourselves really and truly, like, what, not just what am I choosing, but also understanding that there's a thread woven through that. There's a thread woven through that, right? That will meet you at the end of your life. And I'm not saying think from that place. This is like a very Scorpio full moon discussion. I should have had this last weekend. But it's not about building a perfect life. It really isn't. It's about it's about the kind of life that if you were to look back on it and you were to have those moments flash before your eyes, all of that stuff, it's about how at peace were you with how kind you were to other people? Did the people in your life know that you loved them? I talked about that with another example that I had with another brush with death. But it's like, those are the things that matter. There's a Carl Rovelli, Carl or Carlo, I think. Is it in here somewhere? No. It's on my other bookshelf, but he talks about basically where like there are things more important, like kindness is more important than some of the rules of physics. And whenever we fall or bump around in life's messes, what's actually happening is like there's a meme that's like, oh, were you a victim of physics today? Like if you had like a paper cut or something, right? Like just jokingly, but it's like the laws of physics are less important than kindness in some places. And that's sort of like the irony of getting to that point where it's like you get close enough to death that you know that like seconds or minutes away, you were that close. Like you were that close. I didn't have any kind of necessarily an NDE from beyond, but that was when I was 16. I had a different experience with that. But I think it is about understanding that as much as the events in our lives might leave imprints, so too does the life that happens in between. And it's like finding the unique fingerprint of that in our experiences and knowing that that's the progress that we can use to mark our path instead of all of the other stuff in between. That's the path, right? I feel like tarot is just an easy way for me to talk about these things. I know, like, I've been feeling and getting these like hits of like, I don't know how to not feel arrogant or anything like that, just talking about those experiences. So maybe stay tuned for that. That's been a little, not earworm. I don't know. I wanted to say brainworm, but that doesn't sound great either. So, Knight of Pentacles, Seven of Wands. I just heard don't touch my stuff. Maybe you're an only child. I don't know. The World. Again, the World. It showed up before too. Let me just do this here. Hang on one second. Okay. Got it. I just had some wires hanging around. I feel like you're letting go of the resistance to this and understanding that this is part of, like, this isn't the wheel, but I feel like the world is like the integration of lessons on the path, right? The integration of lessons on the path. Because the Seven of Wands is showing up in this resistance position, like, just it's like resistance to, I'm not sure to what though, but again, these fixed signs are showing up, and I can't get the word fixity versus flexibility out of my mind. It was in another reading this week, and it's just been there. This is also Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, and maybe that's the resistance that you're letting go, is like it has to look this one way, it has to be this one thing. You know what I mean? I'm here, like, how willing are you to get it wrong, right? Are you willing to get it wrong? I'm hearing don't know right from left. Two. Oh, the Hermit and the Magician. So when I heard don't know right from left, it's like, it's almost like there was too much information coming in. So it's like not understanding where things are coming from and what's happening, right? But it's like the Magician and the Hermit here tell me that there's a way that you do know, but it's within you. So it's not like, this is like the external coming together of things that happen. This is your starting point, right? This is your starting point, not here. This is your starting point. And I think that's where the flexibility might start to manifest, is like it's a manifestation of a perspective that you're holding within you. It's a perspective that you're holding within you. So this Page of Swords, Hierophant, and Knight of Swords. Whoa, whoa, whoa. King of Pentacles. I'm hearing all in. So it's like you're all in. You're all invested. And I think this is maybe grounding some of the Page of Swords ambition, right? I think of this as like ambition that's not the most grounded, because it's like, it's ambition at the start of the journey. And then you go through these like tests of like what happens when you know, that I have to think of a better phrasing, but like the blind faith and blind ambition. And then you are, on those journeys, and you come back from it, and it's like, that's the lessons that you pull help from to ground what it is that you're working on, to ground what it is that you're focused on. And then the Empress shows up. Of course she does, because that's your energy. I feel like it's a very grounded energy. It's a very whole energy. Whole and complete. That's how you're showing up. And that's good, because like the Empress doesn't just make plans. Like the Empress is also great at the execution thereof. So it's not like a question of, oh, I don't know what to do necessarily. Like it's like, no, there's an awareness and an understanding of not just what needs to be done next, but it's an understanding of why. And that you don't have to have like the whole understanding of what's happening in order to know. But all that is required is for you to have an idea. And that's what I'm getting, is this idea, this page energy, right? And this could be the other side of this too, the other storyline here. We have the Page of Swords, Hierophant, and the Knight of Swords. So it's like an idea that you can believe in. An idea that you can believe in. And maybe the idea is yourself. Like with the Empress here, maybe the idea is yourself, starting on the Four of Wands and ending pretty close to it. The song On My Way by the band Shepherd. They're Australian. Sheppard. On My Way. On My Way. You could be on your way to something. There could be, it could be an idea that's on its way to fruition. Four of Wands is also the stability and commitment card. So it's like there could be someone or an offer on its way to you. That could be it as well, right? King of Cups. I feel like this is like embracing it with open arms, but most importantly with like an open heart. I heard the art of refilling and filling. So it's like this balance. This balance. That's really beautiful. I'm going to pull from the chakra deck here just to get an idea. Spirit, what messages do you have for my creative unconscious for Saturday, May 20th? And by Saturday, May 20th, I mean 21st. All right. Whoops. Okay. So knowing, transmutation. So I think this is, I'll read them both to you. My cat's just scratching at the door. Give me 2 seconds. I will be right back. Come on, baby girl. Come on, Pookie. Okay, so we have knowing. So for the greatest good of all, I trust my knowledge and wisdom and the higher knowledge and wisdom available to me. I am an aspect of universal consciousness. I know myself to be part of the whole. I now grow beyond my previous experiences. I am wise. So, hi. I think that you are wise. And it's not about wisdom necessarily, but it's like the knowing that you gain and that you have in light of transmutation here. This transmutation and transmuting things to grow beyond them, right? To grow beyond them. I know. So transmutation, I release all the negative, I release all the negative thoughts and expectations of myself, others, in the world. It is easy for me to transform negative beliefs and expectations into positive and supporting ones, and so I do. I recognize the power of my thoughts and words as they vibrate through the universe, creating my future reality. And as I transform. So I'm getting here that there's a way that maybe it's like I'm hearing way of seeing things. The transformation of beliefs into positive ones. It's like, I feel like this is kind of the role of the magician. Like this is where these two cards are coming together here, right? Like it's like this wisdom piece here where it's like it starts inside and then it makes this possible, right? It makes manifestation possible. And it's like you're stepping into that. I just heard count your blessings. Blissings. Count your blessings. My cat's trying to scratch her face, so she's like doing a little tour across all of the mildly sharp corners on things. Hi. Okay, so I'm going to pull from the Miracles Now deck here. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? And by daily creatives, I mean creative unconscious. I can find peace in every breath. Meditation, quieting your mind. And what else do we have here? When I shine bright, I give permission to others. Okay, that was not it. I'm just making shit up now. When I shine bright, I give others permission to shine with me. I feel like this is like an 11th house kind of vibe, like collective shining. Maybe the way that maybe there are the ways that other people shine or the way that you shine are giving people permission to do that, right? They're giving people permission to do that. That could be it too. That could definitely be it. My cat just had a nap, and that's like her favorite time for face scritches after the fact. I know, baby girl. So I think this is your reading. I'll leave it here, unless you would like to see more of my cat perform her bliss. I don't even know what she's doing right now. You are so funny. Yes, you are. Yes, you. Yes, you. So I'm going to leave it here, my friends. So if this resonated, please like and subscribe. And if you would like to connect, there are other ways to do so on the channel. But in the meantime, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, we hope that it finds you very well. All right. Take care, everybody.